Hey guys, welcome to Outlaw Edge. So the shop's all smoky right now because I've been grinding on these rubber deals here, and the spacer's stuck out a little bit. So I just made them where they flush fit. They were sticking out like a ½ inch, so I cut them off with a grinder and then sanded them down smooth. But this is the rack and pinion for the 35 for this car right here, and we're trying to get this put back together. Man, frustrating as hell trying to get one of these though. Excuse me. The problems that we had is all of them had different size here, or they were either too long or too short. Lines were in the wrong spot, blah, 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 all this crap. Thought it was a Mustang 2. It ended up being an 82 to 89 T-Bird. So with the help of CarQuest and Grand Rapids, thanks guys, appreciate it. They figured it out and it's the right one. So everything fits and matches and whatever. And I also like that this one is set up with, let me see if I can get that to focus. On the shaft right here, it's got that notch so that the bolt bumps up against that notch so that there's no way for those splines to strip out for the steering, which is really cool. Instead of just the other style where it had a bolt that just went in there. This one, it can't turn, so it's a good setup. So, excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bitch bolted in and start hooking up some lines and whatever, and might set up the camera, I don't know yet, we'll see what happens. Raining outside and a little cold today, a little chilly. Springtime, summertime's over. So we ran into our first problem. The way this thing mounts up. Well, I thought it was gonna be a problem, and I looked at it, and then stuck it up in there, but it actually does fit because these bushings bring it out far enough where it's not hitting on the bottom control arm. I thought it was gonna hit on the bottom right here, but it looks like it's gonna fit, so it's a good thing. So I'll get this thing bolted up. I'm not gonna do this steering rod until last. And then I gotta do the adjustments on the tie rod ends. Get these all bolted on. And obviously I'll have to adjust them as far as I can in here and get it bolted on, and then we'll put it on a trailer and go have this thing lined. After I have it, fluid in it and it's steering and everything's hooked up where it's running and whatever. But so far so good. We'll see what happens. Well, we might get something done if people can stop bothering me. See what happens. It's gonna be kind of loud. Putting the nut and the washer on the back side of these. It's be kind of loud. Watch your ears. Super strong. And the bushings that I cut off worked out great. They're sitting flush on the front, and it's sitting flush on the frame mounts against the other bushings. So that worked out good. Now I'll start getting these screwed on here. That's not gonna work. Yes, it is. So what I'm gonna do is, I just realized that the nuts that were on here, the jam nuts, they were on the ends. They went with the old rack and pinion as a core. And I don't think I have those. So what I'll do is, sorry about the shaky camera. What I'll do is I'll go see if I can find some of those jam nuts, and they're gonna go on the ends where the tie rods mount. That way the tie rods can't, you know, they'll be tightened against the jam nut, will be jammed against that so it can't come off the rack and pinion. And then the next thing I have to do is hook up those lines, make sure the lines are all the same, whatever. And I'm gonna flip this camera on and show you something else. So this car we bought from a guy, and there was so much stuff on it that we had to change. It was just a joke. This morning when I was messing around with this, you know, I never had to turn the wheels with the rack and pinion unhooked right here where it hooks to the spindle. But I went to turn the wheel and I couldn't turn it at all. Like, I took everything I could to turn the damn thing. And I realized he had, in this side, he had these jammed in there. He had two lock washers smashed face to face and tightened down right in here. And all that needs is a lock nut, so now it turns super nice. But I just couldn't believe that. I was blown away. I was like, wow, that's a screwed up deal. So I'll go through and make sure everything is, you know, working good and whatever. So I'm gonna go find those jam nuts real quick. All right, well, I'm back over here working on the 35, and Aaron was over here helping me on this thing, messing around with it. And we found out a couple things we need to do, and then I got this steering set up all, this was locked up, so I had to take that off and lube it and get it to where it was working again. And then I did the same thing with all the little U-joint setups in here, or little wobbly guys here. But this here, I'm gonna have to bring this up to where it's nice and true, square and whatever, and you know, make sure it's welded or whatever. And this is the rod. I had to cut it because this it was 2 inches higher on this rack and pinion, so it was a little bit different. So I got that set up, and then this guy got bolted back in here. This is working now, so it turns really easy. And I adjusted it out here. Get this down where you can see it. I adjusted this out a little bit farther so it was not hitting on the frame or anything like that, and got it a little bit farther away from these brake lines and whatever. And then, like I said, the rack and pinion was 2 inches back, so I ended up having to cut this. That's the only way I could do it. If not, what I would have had it done is I would have had to have cut this, grind this weld off here and pull this rod out of there, out of that U-joint setup. And I just didn't feel like that was safe enough. So this is a lot stronger here. So I cut the shaft, and I have a piece of tubing slid over it right here. You can see the tubing that I'm spinning. And then I'll get it where it sits real nice and weld the piss out of it so it doesn't break, because this is steering, you know, it's a safety deal. So the other thing too is these were like frozen up. The knucklehead that did this had a washer underneath here and had it locked up so tight you couldn't even turn the freaking wheels, which pissed me off, because you know, you trust in buying a car from somebody, and you know, we got this car used from a guy, and we found everything on it was just jacked up mess. But we're getting it all fixed, put back together, and we'll get it to where it works and steers nice. And got the radiator back. I don't know if I told you that the other day. That's gonna get ready to put back in here too. I gotta get the oil lines, the hydraulic lines hooked up for the steering, get those put in there. And that's about it really. And then I can start putting the grill and the shell and everything all put back on the front of the motor. But I'll go ahead and get this stuff welded up right now. Maybe I should turn record on the camera first. I've been doing that a lot lately. Too much going on. So I'm just getting this prepped so I can get it welded and finished up. And I want to make sure it's welded nice and straight up and down so that it doesn't flop when you're turning the steering wheel. Now who's here? It's been a crazy day. Too many people stopping in and bugging me. Trying to get something done is impossible anymore. Awesome. So there's no flop, so I can go ahead and weld this thing up. Should work good. If you put the ground on it. Kind of tricky, you almost got to use one eye because I got the header in the way right here to weld this thing up. Somebody else is here now. Holy crap.